It's been a while, man. It has been a while. Um, Want to welcome everyone back to the Easy Convo. I'm here with my co-host Zaid Dejani. We have a wonderful guest with us today, and I'll let Zaid get into the resume. But we want to thank everyone for listening, and let's do it.
Yeah, we hope this is a easy combo for everyone. Today, our guest today is Jony Munoz. Uh, Very long resume. I can't hit it all right now, but we'll be touching on a lot of it throughout this podcast. But just to name a few, he was the Gatorade National Player of the Year, the Kansas Gatorade National Player of the Year. He was on the Sporting KC Academy team from U12 to U17. He was a member of the U16 United States Boys National Team. D1 number 15 freshman in the country, and he's had offers since he was 16 years old. We'll touch on the rest of them. I could go through for another couple minutes about his resume, but we'll touch on it throughout the podcast. So, Jony, just to start off, man, why don't you tell us about yourself and kind of where you're from, what you're about?
Yeah, your
Yeah, for
D-Win.
sure. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm excited to be here. Shout out Sam, our boy Sam, that connected us and got this happening. But yeah, no, I'm a Olathe cat, not Kansas City.
Glad we
Definitely
can
based
clarify
in
that
Kansas.
early. For anyone listening, Olathe is in Kansas. I'm glad we can clarify that early. John, I'll let you get into it though, brother. My apologies.
Yeah. No. I'm an Olathe cat, born and raised here. Got Mexican parents. So I have that Hispanic heritage, Latino in my blood, and love that about my family and about myself. But yeah, bro. Grew up in Olathe. I was born in a Christian household. Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and that has um, the utmost value in my life and the way I live my life and the way I try to go about things and approach everything is through my faith and in Scripture. And so that's the biggest part. Soccer's played a huge role in my life since I was a youngin, and I'm excited to talk about that. And it's just been cool to have a good career and be able to use it to impact the next generation as well. So I'm excited to talk.
Yeah, man. I think good is an understatement. Again, like Zay did not touch on everything, but we've got bullet points here for you, bro. And we're gonna continue to lift you up as much as we can, but your resume is doing that for you. Could you just kind of tell us about how did your soccer journey start? Like what got you into soccer? How did you begin to, develop as a player and things like that?
Yeah. So I mean, ever since I was a kid, I have one older brother. He's 10 years older than me. So dad loved the game. We're a Hispanic family. Obviously, we love soccer and try to get my brother into it. And he was like he's an athletic guy, but he was gifted with like singing and acting and dancing and that musically gifted. And so he went down that route. And so when I came to be and started chasing after the soccer ball, my dad fell in love and just wanted to train and work. And I was all about it. I've had that drive since I was a kid and loved to play and compete. And so yeah, since I was young, just started training with my pops and got into like rec leagues like a year before I should have been able to play just because I love playing and my dad would try to get me in to play and just love playing. So grew up playing, loved it, started to excel kind of pretty young and parents could see that, the people around me could see that, community could see that. And it was cool to be the kid that kind of excelled in something and I liked that. I like to be different since I was young, and so soccer kind of became the thing very quickly, and was able to play throughout my youth years. I joined my first competitive team. I think I was 5 or 6. Uh, just a local team in the area, a very independent team, but a lot of good players, and some of those players are still my buddies till this day. One of my best friends actually played on that team. And we played together at Sporting. I ended up playing at Sporting KC, which we can talk about as well. But Sporting and then high school ball, and he's one of my best friends to this day. But yeah, been super grateful for that journey and starting off and the relationships I've built and everything soccer has given me. Obviously, God, I give credit to the Lord, but through soccer that I've been able to achieve and experience and just live, it's been really cool. So appreciate soccer.
Awesome. You mentioned the KC Sporting Academy team. You joined this team when you were around 12 years old. Kind of what was this experience, joining that? Because I played a little soccer back in the day. I know that's Sporting KC Academy. That's the
See,
team to be
see,
on in the Kansas City area growing up. Kind of how did this opportunity come
see,
about? And
see, see,
huh,
see. See, because everybody plays soccer, everybody played baseball, everybody played hockey growing up. See,
It's hilarious.
No.
Nah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wasn't. I've not been on that level, but I play a little soccer. You know what
You
I mean?
dabbled, you dabbled.
But how did the yeah? It's kind of talk about how this opportunity came about. You know what this experience was like for you.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough, like I said, excel kind of from a young age, and I was a attacking player, very creative player, I would say, and so love to create opportunities, make things happen, be kind of a playmaker type of yeah, just type of player, and it was attractive, and I think from a young age, word kind of spread. There was like you play those teams, and there's certain players on those teams that kind of stand out a little bit, and I try to speak of this as humbly as I can, but that's kind of how it was. I was one of those players that could stand out a little bit, create opportunities, score goals, and once I was around 10 or 11, we had gotten invited to be a part of a club, which is now Sporting Blue Valley. But at the time, it was called Blue Valley Soccer Club. And we got my team kind of got brought into that club, and they took our coach. We played there and excelled there as well. Um, and they're very tied to Sporting KC in the academy, and the coaches knew me and had seen me. I'd grown. I'm like I'm in their backyard, so they had kind of been scouting me for a bit. And when I turned 11, we got asked to go try out, and we did the trial. And after the first day, it was like a 3-day thing. And after the first day, like came up to my pops and I, and were like, "Welcome." And so that's kind of where it started. They liked me as a player. I obviously have a lot of gratitude and I'm very grateful for Sporting and everything they did for me. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. Got brought in kind of through the system, and at 11 joined the U12 team and just started playing there. And they liked me. They liked what I could offer, and I learned a lot there. It was really good to start at a young age. Tough, but it was good.
Yeah, I was gonna follow up on that. Sorry, I was gonna
No.
follow up on that. Obviously, the Sporting KC Academy is a big commitment to make at a young age. I mean, I know just word of mouth through the years, that's a very intense program to be a part of. It's very soccer heavy, obviously very soccer heavy. It's a professional development program. A lot of the guys, that stay in Sporting for the academy team for a long time end up, transitioning onto Sporting KC to professional team. So, kind of what was the development like while you're within the academy, and did you feel like it was a pretty intense experience?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was really cool. From a young kid, you want to step into that environment, but you're young, you don't know what that actually looks like. And so being kind of guided into that was honestly it's kind of a shock at the beginning, just because it's very professional from the moment you get there, and a lot of high expectations. Just everything shifts, right? It's like now you're not only at a good level where you're like training and being trained and everything just raises, but you're also representing the city's club now. At the time, I mean, it's really like the major club in Kansas City, even just kind of this regional area. Now there's a team in St. Louis, but at the time it was Sporting. Like Sporting was everyone. People knew soccer in Kansas City. It was Sporting. People say Sporting and soccer in Kansas City, and so now you're repping that stuff everywhere, right? You have gear to wear to school or to travel or whatever, and so it wasn't just a soccer thing raising the level, but it was like the professionalism. Like how do you carry yourself outside of just the training ground or the facility? Like when you're walking around and people know that you're playing for Sporting, a lot of what's taught too is like you're representing us, and so don't make us look bad. We don't want to make you look bad, type of thing. So that it changed a lot. Like the approach to the game, the approach to training, the approach to taking care of your body, the approach to rest, the approach to sacrifice. From a young age, starting to travel a ton. Um, there's travel teams, there's things like that, but um, yeah, just understanding it's like I'm not just traveling because I'm with these teams. Like now when I travel and I'm at a hotel, I mean we're young, we're goofing off and we're doing being dumb and kids, but you almost like shouldn't because you need to be professional. And so there's just a lot that went into developing as a professional, quote unquote, from such a young age. It was definitely a shift.
Sure. I wanted to ask, you touched on a moment ago, like obviously your father's love for the game, and then some of the coaches and friendships you've built throughout playing in your playing career while playing soccer. I don't know if I put that together well, but anyways, You get where I'm going with this question. How did those relationships kind of continue to build in you to not only become the player you were, but also like continue that love for the game?
Yeah, yeah. I that's a really huge question. I think that's very important, and I think it's something to consider. Um, Myself as with what I do now and the impact I can have on kids, but just all coaches in general or people, parents even who are role models to their kiddos or people who are of instruction to their kiddos. Um, you can have a really big impact and a positive impact, or you can have a really negative impact. There's some people that are in the middle, but it's almost always like a very positive or very negative impact. Um, and I think for me, those coaches or those people who poured into my life outside of soccer and asked me how I was doing outside of soccer, which unfortunately wasn't a ton, but the very few are the ones I still talk to, are the ones I'm still connected with, and the ones who cared about me and made me feel like a person, not just a soccer player or like a. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? The professional athlete, sports, it's business. You know, you gotta help them win games, or else you're not valuable. And so, if you're not making things happen, like, ciao, you know. And so, you are kind of like material, so to say. Does that make sense? Or like, I don't know if that's the right word, but like, you're part of their business. If you're bringing efficiency and something to them, then great. If not, like, you're not a value type of thing. And so those coaches who could separate both, you know, expect a lot out of me, but also care for me as a person, like, I think those have had the biggest impact on my life as I've gotten older and as I developed throughout my career and the way I viewed the game and stuff. But I think there's also those who impacted me negatively, or just I learned a lot from. You know, I don't everyone has their reasons for the way they coach or the way they go about things, but yeah, bro, it was cool. There was some that I really appreciated, some that I didn't appreciate as much, but everyone as a whole, I can't complain, helped me get to where I got and to where I am, and so for that I'm beyond grateful, you know.
Yeah. I think with any athlete or any person that listens to this, they can attest to those coaches that have that positive impact or that negative impact, like that two ends of the spectrum type of viewpoint that you were talking about. And I think you hit it perfectly on the head with that is like those coaches that check on you like, hey man, like you weren't as turned up yesterday at practice. Like, is everything going okay? Like at home, or is everything like how was school today? Did that play a part into um, how you were at practice today? Whereas some are just like, man, you aren't being the player I think you could be by. And it's like, dang, like, there's so many more factors that go into a 14, 15, 16, 17 year old's mind um, that I feel like really, play a part into coaching and things like that from a player's point of view.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. So U16 comes around. You have the opportunity to play on the United States national team under 16. How did this come about, and what was this experience like for you? Did you guys travel around? Where were the games? I don't kind of fill us in on how that
He
went.
just got his license, so he's lit. He's feeling it. He's 16. He just got his L's, bro. He's feeling good, obviously.
No, bro, I was around Olathe, brother. I was living in KC finally. Nah, I'm playing. Yeah, bro, it was great. I'll kind of walk you through that process to get to that point. But so I joined when I was 11, played on the U12 academy team at Sporting, and did well. Got to the point of kind of like captaincy, and that started to flourish in my life, like the leadership role, the kind of the guy who talks on the field, the guy who is not afraid to step up and say something. Um, I was kind of I talk about my faith, and my faith played a huge role, but also my family, just being very like servant hearted, and so being the guy who like helped clean up after we finish with the drill, and all the guys go get water, and being one of the guys who help pick up the drill so that coach can set up the next drill, things like that, and so that started to flourish, and so my game was flourishing both on the field, starting to flourish and develop, but also off the field, I was getting a little bit more recognition as a captain or things like that. Stepped into U14. Yeah, played on the U14 team and was the captain there. Did well, was flourishing, and all the while was getting like starting to get national recognition. Right, so you start like top 150. You break into top 150 prospects of your age or your class or whatever, and that just start climbing, climbing, climbing. And then I'm sure you guys know like the Pro Bowl or the MLB All-Star game. There's an MLS All-Star game, and it's done a little bit differently now, but at the time they would select an MLS All-Star team and they would play against the big like European club or something like that. And it was a big thing, right? Um, well, at that time, I'm not sure if they still do it, but Adidas would do a Academy All-Star game where they'd pick guys from the East, guys from the West of the academies. And you get selected and you'd play at the All-Star game at the same time as the Pro All-Star game. And so when I was 14 or 15, I got selected into that. So I was an MLS Academy All Star, which helped me break in. I think at that point was top 50, top 30 in the country in my class. I forget exactly. I don't remember the numbers, but something like around there. So now the recognition is getting there. I'm playing in the MLS All Star game. Um, Obviously doing stuff with like Adidas. I was like an Adidas commercial and like just things like that. That's super cool. And really cool experiences and just thriving, starting to flourish. Obviously, as you're getting recognized for your game, you start to play better and feel a little more confident and things like that. By that point, I'd gotten talked to by the director at Sporting, and he was like, "Hey, like you're on the national team radar. Like they've been looking at you for some time now, but now it's like getting real, and you might get called up. Like just keep balling." And so, funny enough, we were playing. It was getting towards like towards our winter season, so we'd do like a full season from like August to May. So in the winter, you just have a couple off months, but then like your season would continue at that level in like February, and you just keep playing outdoor again. So at the end of the like fall portion, like the first half of the season, there was this big tournament or like showcase thing that would happen in Florida, and I got sick like 2 weeks before it. And so we were kind of frustrated because the big thing, like you got to win those games. It makes your team look good. It makes the academy look good. It makes everyone look good. Everyone gets showcased. So I'm sick and I'm like really focusing on getting healthy again, getting fit so that I can be ready to go play there. And I remember I was at my grandma's, my grandma's, and my dad gets a call from the director. And I thought I was cooked. Like, I mean, the pressure and everything, I'm like, I haven't trained in 2 weeks. He's telling me I'm not going or something like that, you know? And I remember he went outside and he came back in and he was like, repeat what you said. Like, Johnny's on the phone. So he like puts it on speaker. And pretty much he's like, Johnny, how are you doing? You feeling healthy? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, hey, like, well, I got some news for you. I was like, oh, please tell me I'm going to the Florida trip. And he's like, no, no, yeah, I'm talking about something else. And I was like, okay. He's like, you got selected. You're going to the national team. And like my whole family's there. Like I don't have a ton of family that's in KC. A lot of them are in Mexico. So it's like the family that's like really tight knit here was there, and everyone hears it. Grandma starts crying. Uncle's like shaking me. My aunt's crying. My mom's like, "What?" My dad's like dying laughing, like just of like crying, laughing. Like what an honor, you know. And it's funny because I grew up watching Mexico play. Like Mexico was kind of the country we supported, but we always knew if I was going to play for a national team, it would probably be closer, like the U.S. national team, and that's just as much of an honor for me being a Mexican American. So, bro, crazy call. I got healthy, went to the Florida trip. At the Florida trip, the national team coach was at my games and like talked to me, and so I was like, I'm like the one guy's getting called up. And there was another guy on my team that went as well. And went to the national team camp, and so we went to Florida. It was like the team was supposed to go to Argentina early the next year, and this camp like not concentrate. That's how we say it in Spanish, but like focused camp type thing where you like go in and you train and everything in preparation for the next trip. It was in Florida at IMG, so it was super cool. Like IMG was kind of like sectioned off for us. You get like a box from Nike with all the gear and the new cleats and the new bag and this and that, and you get flown out and you get picked up by like a chauffeur and the whole thing, bro. Crazy experience, super cool to be training with like the best guys in the like some of the guys weren't even playing the US at that point. They were like 16-year-olds that were playing in England and things like that. It's crazy, bro. So these guys are ballers, and just to be even considered at that level was really cool, bro. So it was a really cool experience. Played there. Um, Came back. I ended up not going to Argentina. There was some cat from like I don't know if you guys know, but Manchester United who had like some connection to US. They ended up taking him. He was in my position. He's playing at a way bigger club, so he got selected. And then I got we were talking about me going to the next camp, but by that point I left Sporting. And just within that realm that like you're not going to take a kid who's playing high school ball. So kind of cut my chances with the continuing with the national team. But bro, crazy. just crazy to even be considered to represent my country at that level. Like, just crazy, bro. So it was an honor, and something I keep near and dear to my heart, bro. It was crazy.
I love that you touched on just a kid playing high school ball because your whole time um, explaining that, man, I'm like running in the back of my mind, like, yo, this is just a 15, 16-year-old kid from Olathe getting all these opportunities, and I'm like, when do you go to class, bro? Do you go to class? Like, are you sitting in class and people are like, yo, this Johnny,
Bro,
he just got picked. Do you know he just got picked? Like I've been grateful enough to play with some high level talent and things like that throughout my basketball career. But like I gotta ask, like, how do you balance that things? How do you stay even kill with like being a 15, 16-year-old kid and being in these spaces that like is kind of one out of every 100 kid really gets the opportunity to, really even slimmer than that.
yeah, yeah. No, it was. But I think my family and my really close friends, I've always been a guy with like a tight knit circle. I like been always try to be cool with everyone, but really, really had like a tight knit circle, and I think those people helped me stay grounded. Um, I think over time, as I got older, I realized like whether you stay grounded or not, just getting that like praise constantly or like those opportunities and being looked at a certain way definitely has an effect later on, right? Like now that I stopped playing and I'm not playing as much or things like that, is like you kind of get used to it, if that makes sense. And that sounds kind of bad. And I don't want to be prideful about saying that, but you like get used to being seen or viewed in this way. And then you're finding outlets later on to try to like be seen, by people or things like, because you're right. Like it gets to a point where like, oh, you're the guy. You're the national, you play for sport, like all this stuff. But yeah, bro, I can't be grateful enough for my family and my faith again. Keep my feet grounded and viewing things from that perspective of, I may be achieving things, I may be um, at this high level, uh, but ultimately I'm just like everybody else. I've just been gifted this and been stewarding it well and work hard and have been rewarded in some areas. But the person next to me, my mom would always say this kind of quote, and she'd say like, there's always someone better than you and there's always someone worse than you. Like you might be better than someone, but there's someone who's better than you. So don't get ahead of yourself, and it's true. So yeah, bro, it's good to have good people around you, not just yes people. Some
Yeah,
yes people try to come by, but you can't keep those around too much, bro.
that's real.
Very true. And
Yeah.
so you said you left Sporting K because Sporting KC Academy team, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not able to play high school soccer if you're part of the academy team. Is that right?
Yeah, correct, bro.
Oh, so the high school's sick with you, bro. I'd be blue. The high school is blue with you. They don't even got the man. I'm learning as we're talking, bro. I'm thinking. See, I'm glad Zayd asked that question. I'm thinking you're playing high school and you. See, it's connecting them. So the high school's really sick with Johnny because he's not even playing yet.
Yeah, yeah. So to be completely honest, bro, like my freshman year of high school, my sophomore year is like I missed the most school I ever missed. Like I would leave school, I like had like half days pretty much, and had to do like makeup, classwork, and things like that, just because of training and everything, traveling. Um, so honestly, bro, to be completely honest, and soccer, even though it's growing a lot in the U.S., bro, like it doesn't compare to like American sports, quote unquote, like basketball, baseball, football. Like, bro, they was like I was on the national team, and it's like if you think about it, or like now it's like wow, like this guy's like amongst the best of the best in the country and getting recognized and playing for the U.S. And it's like, brother, no one actually knew what that meant. Like at school, like the people who played soccer knew and were like, yo, everyone else would be like, that's cool. Like, like cool. You don't play like you didn't win our league though, like our high school league. And I'm like, yeah, I don't get it, but it's okay. I didn't talk about it much either. Like I wasn't someone to like flaunt it a lot, so I just kind of kept to myself and did my thing. But yeah, bro, once I left sporting and like was like I'm gonna play high school ball, and people were aware of what my career had been and where I was at, and that I made the decision to leave that, and now I'm playing high school. That's when everything kind of started to really pop. Like that's when people were like turning heads and stuff like that. Yeah, it was cool though. But yeah, I left sporting right before my junior year of high school, bro.
And you think you just wanted to kind of get an experience of, kind of high school, playing for your high school team, playing for where you're from? Do you think that went into the decision to leave sporting, kind of get that experience?
Yeah, bro. So to be completely honest, I think there was a lot of factors that were coming into play. One of them that's a huge thing on my heart for the next generation, what I talk about a lot with the kids I work with now. But um, I think there was a lot I was dealing with inside my head, in my heart, things in secret or in private that I didn't know how to share to people. I didn't know how to talk about. I didn't know how to deal with. I didn't know how to handle. Um, and I was getting a little burnt out. I think I was like, I'm kind of tired. I'm like, I feel like my life's kind of this repetitive thing, and I'm so close to actually achieving my goal and making it. Like, I mean, I'm like amongst the top players in my class and country. Like, I'm doing well. I'm a local kid. I'm a good kid, quote unquote. Like, I have this role model type of perspective viewed upon me. Like, I'm doing things right. I'm an integrous kid on the outside, but like deep down within me, like, bro, I'm dealing with like I'm feeling kind of anxious, and I didn't know this at the time, but like I feel kind of anxious. I'm feeling kind of down. I'm feeling kind of lonely. I'm feeling like I can't be a kid. Like I feel like I didn't have the chance to like just be young and dumb and figure things out and hang out. I would hang out with my friends here and that. And don't want to say I never did, but it was a rare, very rare compared to my friends. And I think all of that was happening at the same time. Um, and again, like I'd grown up in faith and I knew that I should be living a certain way. And in the dark, I wasn't. And so it's like I'm traveling every week. I'm playing, doing all these things on the outside, and it looks great. In my community, my church, people are like, John, you're like the golden child. Like, wow, he's the one that's going to make it. And I'm like, I know the right answers at church because I've been going to church since I was a kid. I like know all the I know how to say things to make myself look like this saint, this angel. But the truth is, I'm not like actually living that, and I don't know how to deal with it and manage it, and so I was getting to like a breaking point, bro. And I remember finally speaking to my parents and saying like, "Hey, you guys have sacrificed so much for everything. Like, I mean, you guys got to leave work early to take me to training, and then got to go back to work, and then go pick me up, and all these different things." And I'm right there. Like, I'm right there. We're so close to finally making it and signing that contract. Um, but I think I need to leave. Like I feel like something in my soul, my heart, like I feel like I need to, like this isn't where I'm supposed to be right now. They're like, you're crazy. But like if you actually think that this is what you need to do, like we'll support you, which I'm so grateful for my parents for that support. But I'm gonna be honest, bro. No one, not one person told me I should leave or agreed with me leaving. Not one person, bro. Everyone was like, you're an idiot, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're throwing away your career, like all your hard work. But yeah, bro, I think it was a mix of like burnt out. My mental health wasn't there. I just struggling with things internally, bro. And wanting to just like, I don't know, to breathe. I feel like I couldn't breathe, bro. Like it was just like expectations have been here for so long. Some people can view that as like, oh, he wasn't built for it, he didn't have what it takes. But the truth is I'd been there for a while. So I knew I could just keep on going and do it, but I felt so empty, bro. And so that was not only me stepping away from that level of soccer or sporting or that opportunity, but it was also the door for me to really dive into my faith and my relationship with God and figure that out on my own. I think I'd done it because my family did it. And I was like, if this whole faith thing is real, I want to figure it out for myself and like read the Bible for myself, spend time doing that stuff for myself. Maybe I could have done that being at sporting, but I felt like God called me away from that to call me closer to Him. And that's like exactly what happened.
That's a real testimony, bro, for real. Like to be able to internalize that at age, what, 16, 17, 18, like that's a whole life transformation that you internalize and be able to take in and not only understand it for yourself, but now, as we talked about a little bit before we started going live, be able to share that with others, which I want to give you a chance to talk about here in a bit. But I want to get into your transition from high school now, getting away from the sporting and the professional to now being a regular high school student, playing for the school, having the student section, The thank you seniors night. Just had my senior night, so that's lit. But
Yo,
having that side of things to now, making that decision on, okay, we're back. We got to make another major decision. It's time to step into the college play. Kind of speak on how that transition was for you.
I
yeah,
got,
yeah. Go
I
ahead, go ahead.
got once. I want you. Can you talk real one for 1 second before you talk about your transition from high school to college? Um, Senior year, state champion, Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year, National Player of the Year.
My fault. My
I
fault.
want to make sure we
My
chat.
fault.
Before we do the transition, from high school to college, I want to make sure we talk
You
about that.
gotta let him say, yo, my senior year, I had this happened, and then he go, you feel me? Nah, for sure,
I was
for
gonna
sure.
make sure we didn't miss that real
I'm
fast because
glad Zay touched on that too.
huge.
Yeah,
We in basketball in the Kansas City area. I mean, there was obviously the Kansas Gatorade National Player, Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year. That was a huge deal to get for basketball. I know it's the same for soccer, but not just only for Kansas, but the National Player of the Year. That's crazy. Can you talk
yeah,
about that a little bit real fast?
yeah. So when I transitioned out of sporting, I was honestly borderline like quitting soccer. Like I was kind of like, I don't even know if I want to play. Like I'm kind of done. I need to breathe. And my coach who was my first coach at sporting. Shout out Matt Trump. He just like opened the doors for me to fall in love with the game again and just have a different perspective. He's one of the major characters, major roles in me like fall in love with the game again and just letting me express myself through the game and have fun and enjoy it for what it is. 'Cause at the end of the day, yeah, ball is life, all the things, but it's a game, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's a game. And we play it because we have fun. That's what we do when we're kids. And that's the way it should be as we get older too, you know? Um, so he knew my drive, he knew my level, and he was like, I'm gonna help you stay there, but I want you to love the game. So junior year I played, bro, was the first time I'd experienced like playing to win for something more than myself. Like I always wanted to win for my team or things like that. But to be in school and like win a game and get to school the next day and people are like, "Oh, y'all won." It's like, "Oh, like people see this." Like I would win games with Sporting or score a hat trick or whatever. Next day nobody knew, nobody cared, you know? But at high school it was like, "Oh, these are like I'm playing for these people. Like these people are like, "Oh, they're talking trash on us. Like you guys got to win for us." You know, it's like, "Oh, it's a different approach and it's really cool." So I love that. Was able to do like homecoming and being on like homecoming court and like getting more plugged in at school and having I'm like a big like spirit like I'm all in. Like I'm like, bro, let's do it. I'm not like spirit week, I'm doing the spirit week things. Like that's just kind of the person I am. Like let's just do it, you know, for fun.
Yeah.
So it was a complete change and we didn't end up we lost like I think regional final or the state quarterfinal my junior year. And for me, coming from where I was at to high school ball and not winning, I was like, nah, this is crazy. Like I gotta lock in. So then our whole team was very tight knit. We had a really good team, really good relationship, really good players, but guys like everyone was bought into the family like culture. And we all trained, we all took care of ourselves. And going to senior year, bro, it was all about winning state. Like no one was like seeking individual award. Like no one wanted to just do it for themselves. Be at the forefront of that list. Um, and we just were like, we gotta win state. So like, let's make this happen. So we grinded, bro. We lost, I think in preseason, we lost one game, like a tournament final or something, in penalty, something like that. But the whole actual season, we went undefeated. So we went undefeated the whole season, and we're just like confident, loved it. If I could go back and play any one game in any of my career, like national team, sporting, the All Star game, all of those things, I would go back and play any high school regular season game with that team, bro, because it was a joy. The student section, like the teachers, our principal was like, it was so fun, bro. I loved it. But yeah, bro. So we win state, amazing. Everyone's happy. I didn't even know Gatorade National Player of the Years. I didn't know these things because I didn't come. I didn't know high school had that. Like for me, it was just like, let's just win state. That's the goal. And then I start getting like all these after season. I'm getting these emails and I'm getting like things sent to my house, and my coaches like come to the school and pick up this trophy and pick up this and that, and all these things are starting to come. And then Kansas Gator Player of the Year happens, and I was like, wow, awesome, like so cool, this is dope. And then COVID cuts off our senior year. So I didn't like finish my senior year. Like our last quarter got cut off, shut down because of COVID. So it's summer, and so I think the Gatorade thing got pushed back. So I didn't know, and I didn't really care either. I mean, I cared, but I didn't like. It wasn't something I played for. I just wanted to win state. I'm at the lake with my friends and just some really close people to me at the time, and um, they're like my friends are all grouping together and excluding me from conversation, bro. And I'm at the lake and it's summer, and I'm like, my friends are some like low key. They're fake. Like, what's going on? We're at the lake. Like, we should all be talking. Like, we should all be hanging out. And they're like purposefully like we're on the boat, and then we get back to the lake house, and they're like, "Okay, Johnny, we'll see you inside." And like I'm the only one walking to the house, and I'm like, my friends don't like me or what's going on? Apparently, my coach and my dad had got the news that I was a National Gator Player of the Year, and from coming back from the lake, we would go do the ceremony and everything. And so they were telling my friends to spread the word to everyone to like come to this event to recognize me as a Gator National Player of the Year. But I had no idea. Come back, bro. I get asked to do this video at our high school for like students that want to go play college ball or something. Like they completely fooled me. Like said I was just in some video, whatever. I show up. There's like a parade, bro. There's like all the news cameras everywhere. There's like a table at the front. And I promise you, bro, the last thing in my head is Gatorade National. Like I was like, is this part of the video we're shooting? Is this state? Is this Kansas Gator? Like, is there something I don't know, bro? And then our athletic director, there's like a video of it. One of my friends made a YouTube video of it, but he started saying like, we have had fantastic athletes come out of Kansas. You know, Deion Sanders played football. I mean, not Deion Sanders. Darren Sproles, Isaiah. You know, he played at North football.
Football player. I forgot his
He
name.
played at Clemson, baller, like crazy. There's a guy that played on the Kings from the NBA. He played at Northwest. Just like
Willie Coley.
yeah, bro. He's like naming all these crazy athletes, and I'm like, what do I have to do with any of these guys that have actually made the league? And he's like, they've all gone crazy recognition, but there's never been a national player of the year for any sport in Kansas. And today that changes because Johnny's a national Gator player of the year. I was like, brother, what? Like, this is crazy, bro. And just everything's crazy, like pictures, the whole thing. I get like, my brother's like, hey, like, Gatorade's on a call waiting for you. We need to run back home. So I'm like, I like leave the event to go do an interview with Gatorade, come back to the event. Everyone's like, there's like snow cones and like all these things. It was so fun, bro. Crazy experience. Loved it. And it just changed a lot, bro. Like my trajectory in the college like changed because I think not just for me and what the Lord was doing in my heart and the people around me, but I think a lot of people saw like, I mean, for the longest time, I believe just going through the academy was the only way to make it. A lot of times the world makes it seem like there's certain pathways. That's the only way. And I think God can do a lot of things in ways beyond what we could imagine. And I think there's other ways. You can pave other paths. You can make new ways. And I feel like there was quite a few players, girls and guys, that after I left, kind of left their high level team and played high school ball and went a different route and went down a path that maybe they wouldn't have known if I hadn't. I don't want to take all the credit. There's other guys that did it too, but I was one of the guys kind of initially that did it, and I think it paved the way for just a new path for people to take and try to reach their dreams in a different way that maybe they hadn't before. And so Gatorade National Player of the Year was a crazy part of that, bro. Crazy part of that. And it's an honor. Now there's multiple. I think like Grady Dick, is that his name? He was the National Basketball Player of the Year, which is crazy, so cool. But hey, I take my.
Hey, you're the first. You're the first. Number one. There's only gonna be not one person that was first.
Yeah, bro. Really cool. Really cool. And then yeah, into college, it helped a lot, and college was a really cool experience. Again, very non-traditional. I mean, after my career at Sporting, like there was a lot of reach from a lot of schools throughout the country, just like ACC schools all over, bro. I was blessed to have a lot of opportunities, a lot of offers, a lot of looks at a lot of different places. But again, took a non-traditional path, went to a Christian school in Virginia, Liberty University, and loved it. But for one reason or another, God called me away, and then went to UMKC. Loved it there. Had a great experience. Was the number 15 freshman in the country. Had like a leadership role there, and just really enjoyed that, playing my city. And then I would have liked to stay there, and felt like the Lord was calling me away, and went to Mid American Nazarene University, which was another crazy move because in between college, my transfers and stuff, it's like I had pro offers, or I could go to another big D1 school. And I ended up going to NAIA school, which a lot of people look down upon and were like, "You're stupid for doing that. Why are you doing that?" And then I won a national championship there and was one of the captains and just flourished there as well. And was an All American multiple times, and just kind of led in a lot of ways, and flourished there. And it's just like paved another path, like you don't have to go to a D1 school. Like it's great if you do, but you could also flourish at an NAIA school. Then ended up doing my master's at GCU and decided not to go play pro, went to GCU and got a master's there. And it learned a lot about what I am doing now and want to do, and just learned a lot at every place that I was at. Crazy, bro. Very non-traditional path. Not the way I thought I was going to go, not the way I would have wanted it to go, but the way it needed to go. And I learned so much, and I'm so grateful for all of it. And yeah, bro. Crazy path. Crazy path.
To say the least.
Yeah, bro.
And I was kind of looking at your resume earlier, and something that stood out to me was on almost all the soccer teams you were on, you were 99% of the time one of the captains, if not the captain, the main captain. Is there more than one captain in soccer, or is there just one?
It's normally just one. Sometimes they'll have like, if a guy's injured, so they have like a leadership team or like a leadership group of guys, and then like the other guy will be captain if one's injured or stuff like that. But for the most part, I was captain.
Okay. And I mean that's a big deal to be the captain on, a lot of successful teams, as you mentioned, throughout your career. What do you feel like were, kind of skills and attributes of yourself that you possess that allowed you to thrive in a leadership role? And how do you see your leadership role as that captain transitioning into kind of what you're doing now?
Yeah, bro. I think it's probably more of an impactful thing than just being like a good soccer player, or having. I feel like the leadership skills and traits transferred to the rest of my life a lot more than just being a great soccer player. Um, I think just walking with integrity, bro. Being an honest, responsible, bold, authentic guy, player, voice, someone who's not afraid to speak up and say what they think. Um, Willing to have conversation, right, and learn, having a growth mindset, and just an open mindset of like, maybe I don't know everything. I have played at a high level, or I know what I think, but coach might see something that I don't, and I have to be open to that, and I need to be okay with that. Players that maybe are younger than me, that have way less experience than I do, might see something that I'm not seeing, and recognizing that we have blind sides and that we are even for a younger player, there was times where there was basic things that I just needed to be reminded of, you know? And you can get caught up in the bigger things, or like the more flashy things, or the things that may matter more, and you forget about some of the smaller things, the details. And these guys, just being open to having conversation, willing to learn from everyone, and hear everyone out, I think was a huge thing. I think also understanding authority over power, right? Some guys want to have a lot of power trip, and by force do things, but I think having authority is influence, right? And being able to have relationships and build relationships and have people feel like they can talk to you, and therefore willing to follow you, and follow your lead, and kind of ultimately say that you have the final word, but it's because we've talked about it and we've come to that conclusion as a team. Um, yeah, bro, a lot of things like that I've developed over the years. It was things that I learned from really good leaders, and I mean, I'm still learning myself. There's a lot to learn, a lot more to learn, but it's definitely had a huge impact, bro. And something I carry over to the kids I work with now, the people I encounter. I was actually talking to a family recently who's bringing their kid to train with me, their kids, and I was telling them how I much rather than their kids just being a great soccer player and thriving on their team. Like obviously, I would love that, but I would love for their kid to be the one who helps pick up cones at the end of training when everyone just walks off the field, or if they're at the hotel, and the kids are in the lobby and playing around, and then everyone leaves and there's trash. Like to be the one who thinks about those things and stays and cleans up the trash, or does the right thing, picks someone up when they're down, uplifts somebody, things like that, bro. I feel like that goes a long way. Um, and I think sometimes that's lost. We become self-seeking or selfish or want to look out for ourselves. But I think it's good in a way. Uh, but I think it's a lot more important to live for something good, you know? So I love that for kids, and I think that makes it a leader. That's some of that.
Definitely. No, that's a good, really great way to put it. Um, Sorry, I was just looking at something on your resume. And then, so you finished up at GCU,
Yeah.
got your master's there, and then we talked a little bit before the podcast. Uh, you got drafted to the KC Comets, is that correct?
Yeah.
But then you ended up not going to play with kind of what was this like, and why didn't you take that opportunity to go play with them?
Yeah, bro. So right after I graduated from MNU, which was 2023 December, right after we won the national championship, I got drafted. That's when I got drafted by the Comets, and I knew I had one more year to play college. And my goal was always, if I was going to play pro, I'd wanted to play outdoor, and if I were to ever play indoor, it would be here. I would love to play for my hometown team. And so that was a conversation. They drafted me. They had my rights. I think they. I'm not sure if they still do. I think they do. But if I were to play indoor, I would play for them. But bro, I played outdoor for GCU. Finished the masters there, and when I came back, it was part of the conversation whether I would play for the Comets or I had an agent, and we were working on some things elsewhere for outdoor teams. And I just, bro, I spent 2 weeks at home, and again, like I said, my faith just plays a huge role, and I felt like the Lord was calling me to stay here in KC and start on something else. And I think He wanted me to go about not playing, which was kind of crazy and something I wanted. I felt like I was like, all right, God, like finally, brother, let me play. Uh, and everyone kind of around me is like, finally, like you finished school, like go play. But bro, it's important for me to move by faith and not by sight. And I feel like the Lord called me to stay, and so I said no to all the opportunities. And it sucks. I have friends that play at the Comets. I have a couple buddies that play elsewhere. You know, like why not? Um, but I've been so fulfilled, bro. Walking in, I think for me a huge thing that kind of a statement line. And I told you guys this earlier, but purpose over potential. And I think for me, maybe potential, fulfilling my potential would be going to play pro somewhere and being a great player or just having a career as a professional athlete, which is really cool and would love that. And maybe at some point that happens, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Um, but I think right now, the purpose the Lord has over my life is to help build up and equip the next generation. And the best way to do that for me right now in this moment is through what I'm doing, and I love it. So I have that itch. I want to play. I definitely want to play. And sometimes I'm like, like, you know, maybe I can find a way. But, bro, I think God is good and there's a reason for everything. And I'm content with that. So, yeah,
That's
bro.
out there dominating the rec leagues now, man.
Men-
Dominate, dominating the men's leagues, man. They see you walking through the door, they start hearts start hurting a little bit, they stretching a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying? Um,
yeah.
that's real, man. I want to give you a chance too to kind of touch on a little bit more is what you're doing now with the youth and the Olathe, Kansas City area and things like that. And then I have another question for you after that, but I want to give you the chance to kind of shed light on what it is that you're doing now.
For sure. So, like you guys have been hearing in my story, like I think playing at a high level has been a huge part of my story, my testimony with soccer, and I've loved it, loved every second of it, learned a ton, and enjoyed that. But I also part of that story was like not knowing how to deal with things. And I think there was things I was struggling with internally and stuff like that that I wish I had like a big brother mentor who was a coach maybe even in my realm, my world that could like sit down and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? And I could. There's sometimes where I was training, bro, and you know a tear sheds down, but you can't show it because you got to be a man. You got to be hard, and you're a good player. So like, good players don't do that. You know, those stigmas. And I know there was a few people who maybe didn't have that exact role, but somewhat of that role, and they had such a huge impact on my life. So what I've done is I've started a private training program business here in Olathe, right where I grew up, where we do private soccer sessions and we train and do all that. But it's really emphasized, and the focus is for the kids to grow holistically. So mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every area of their life, not just as a soccer player. So a lot of my sessions, I like, sometimes you can tell when a kid comes in and they just had a hard conversation in the car, or maybe they had a bad day, they're a little tired, and stopping and not even starting the session and talking a little bit, and I'm okay with adding a few minutes at the end of the session and not being so strict on time and letting them train for the full hour, but having at least a conversation and spending that time. You know, I've had a lot of conversations where a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 8-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old share what's on their heart when we get to it. And it's like, wow, that's something heavy. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something that we should just move past. Like, we need to talk about that and letting them feel that out. Even times where they start training and I could tell something's off and we talk, and then they let it out, and then their training intensity goes through the roof because they're like, they feel free, they feel safe. So I've created this environment of private training where kids can just feel safe, can train and get better and excel and reach that high level that they want to reach. But we also do workshops, mental health workshops, emotional health workshops, physical health workshops. It's all biblically based, and just there to help the kid grow, right? Not everyone's gonna make it pro. Not everyone might even play in college. But how can we use the sport to grow these kiddos as individuals and healthy people? Because they're the future, and I think that's very important. So that's what I'm doing now. A little bit of social
Man,
media, a little bit
and
of
what's the name of your factory, your
yeah, the
academy?
lab. No, it's called Higher Vision Training. It's based out
Okay.
of a verse in the Bible, Isaiah 55, 8 and 9. It pretty much says that God's ways are higher than ours. And his thoughts for our lives and his ways for our lives are higher than ours. And so whatever you could dream of as the best thing for your life, God's
Mhm.
ways higher than that. And so it's all about having a higher vision.
Man, go tap in. I'm about to book a session right now. I'm off the hoops. I'm straight to soccer after this. Y'all heard it here on the EZ Convo.
Let's go.
I'm tapped in with Johnny. I'm about to take my talents to the soccer realm and really just try to,
We
turn
love
it
it.
up from here.
We love it.
Uh, no, I love what you're doing though, bro. That's real life, and that's it's encouraging to me, being that my college career is about to come to an end, and just considering some things that I'm going to do in the next level is like, man, there's always an opportunity to give back and to pour into the youth and to be a vessel for the Lord and things like that. And I love that you're doing that for real.
Amen, bro.
Um, my final question for you is though, like, being that that's something you're doing now, how would you define success to some of the kids that you're working with, where you've touched on, like, it's not the typical route, or it's not, you don't have to go to a Power 5 school to be successful, or how would you define success to someone that you're working with?
Yeah, bro. I think the first thing, the biggest thing that comes to my mind is that purpose over potential. A
Hmm.
lot of us, it's and it's cliche a little bit with what I've said with my story, where I got a lot of the limelight and a lot of the shine. Um, but I think the people closest to me would be pretty quick to say that I tend to be, and I try to be, a very selfless person, and lift others before I try to lift myself. And I think understanding that your sport will fade, money will fade, your social media fame will fade. Like, all these things of yourself are going to fade. The only thing that won't fade is the Lord, bro, and He calls us to love one another and to be a light in the spaces He places us. And so, for me, having an impact in growing relationships, bro, pouring into people, um, connecting with people, letting, like, being generous, giving, all of those things, bro. Living out in true purpose is so much more fulfilling than chasing potential, bro. I feel like when your aim is on how can I be the biggest me, it's endless, bro. Like, you could gain all the money in the world and you still be trying to chase for something more. But when you realize that you can have all the fulfillment in giving your life to Jesus and just living in purpose, bro, I feel like your whole perspective shifts. And now success, as you said, success isn't found in how big you can get or how rich you can get or how well off you can be, but how much you can uplift the people around you, how much you can pour into those people and see their lives changed. And so for me, I would say success has definitely shifted from the sponsorships I could have, or where my name could be placed, or where I can put my last name on the map, you know, and more on how many people's lives can I impact and have a positive impact on. And that's really what lasts, right? You could change the trajectory of somebody's life with a simple act of kindness, with a simple act of love. And it's like, how many lives can be transformed in that way? Because that's going to last, you know? Then they transform someone else's life. They transform someone else's life, you know? What good does it do if I just have all the bread? It doesn't, you know? A little bread don't hurt, though. A little bread
You
don't
got it, bro. No, you got it, man, for real.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. For real. That's
You're a
dope.
selfless guy, and it's really been a joy talking to you. I was going to ask you for a piece of advice at the end, but you really kind of covered it right there, you know, about giving back to others, you know, finding a purpose in what you do. And, you know, I really like that. I know you just talked about your training and all about it, but I just want to give you a chance, like so we can make a 30-second clip, you know, to put out there about your training. In like 30 seconds, the name of your training, as you mentioned before, how to reach you, a quick, like, 10-second rundown of people, what they're looking for, how to find you,
For
and
sure,
kind of
bro.
work on just real fast, just so we can plug you on the Instagram and, you know, help, you know, promote your brand.
Yeah, bet. Okay, I need to cook this.
Now, sorry, I put you on the spot. It's
Quick now, hold on. So we got Higher Vision Training. It is higher.vision with 2 N's at the end on Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you use, but higher.vision with 2 N's. My number, my email is all on those accounts. You can find me through there. We have a website, highervision.com. You can look at all the info on there. We do all kinds of private soccer training, small groups, and mental health workshops. We want your kids to be raised, the next generation to be raised to be great soccer players, but even more than that, great individuals, healthy individuals who live purpose-filled lives for Jesus. So, yeah, shout out Higher Vision. Come train.
Shout out
Man, shout out Higher Vision. I'm tapped in. I told you, Johnny. I'm coming.
Yo,
I'm on the
Coach
way,
K.
bro.
Hey,
I'm
shout out. Come when
first.
Nashville comes, you get free autograph.
I'm gonna be your cheers. Hey, I'm gonna be your first 21-year-old client. I'm in there. You feel me? This will be I'm not like Zayd. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I played soccer, so I know I'm doing. I ain't never played soccer in my life, but I'm tapped in with you, bro. I love what you're doing for real.
Oh.
Yeah, man, this is dope. I really enjoyed this conversation for real. It was great getting to break down with you, man.
This is cool. Tap in with Easy Podcast, man. Tap in with the.
Yeah, we hope this was an easy combo for you, bro. We hope this was an easy.
It was.
That's what's up, man. So yeah, no, definitely everyone tap in with this training program. Kids, parents, anyone out there, this is the guy to be with when it comes to soccer. His resume speaks for itself, and even from my apologies, I can't talk.
He's
not relating to the
he's been to sign up. He's excited.
Not relating to the resume. Very humble guy.
Yeah.
That, you know, treats the sport as it's bigger than just the sport. You know, he wants to develop, you know, kids and individuals in a sport to be, you know, functioning members in our society, you know, and give back to the community and, you know, really help others. So everyone, make sure you tap in with Jony. Jony, we appreciate you coming on, man. If anyone listening, if you like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, share, and we'll be there next time.
All the stuff.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, bro.